Hey guys, welcome back to Latin 2 Online. I hope you guys had a good weekend, and we're going to get into the schedule now. So today we're going to work through some Chapter 21 exercises. We'll do 3 in this video right now, and then you'll do 3 on your own to enter into today's Google form. So you'll spend the rest of today's class time on that. Um, and then on Wednesday, we'll check the Golden Age story that I posted on the form on Friday, and I'll post again, obviously, and you will translate all of that and enter it into the form on Wednesday before watching the video wherein I will check that passage. And then on Friday we will finish up the Golden Age translation if we don't in the video for Wednesday, and maybe do a couple of lectiones for chapter 21. And then we will finally do that translation quiz for chapter 20 that was supposed to be last Friday. So sorry if that was confusing if you were expecting that. There was a technical issue there, but this gives you more time to prep. So since we're turning in the Golden Age story translation on Wednesday, this will be on Friday, and it's going to be one of the lectiones, 2, 3, 4, or 5 from last week. And I will link in this form today the video where I am checking those translations, and then one spot translation, which will likely be drawn from the video from last Wednesday, which I will also link in today's form. So that is going to be for Friday, and it'll actually happen this Friday, unlike last week where you probably were expecting it to, and then it didn't. Okay, so remember, chapter 21 we found out on Friday. We're just going to be going over these new passive endings for third and fourth conjugation verbs. They're not entirely different than the ones we had for first and second conjugation back in chapter 18. The main thing is you are going to be wanting to be able to differentiate between the future tense endings that are similar to present tense endings. So that is especially important in the second person singular and the third person plural. If you don't have this vocabulary and you also don't have your textbook, then you probably just want to pause on the screen right now and write them all down. Otherwise, you should. It'd be a good idea to open up your textbook to page 169 while we go over these exercises. And then, lastly, before we get into today's actual lesson, once again, this is the reading that will be due on Wednesday's form. Some of you might have already gone through a good chunk of it, or maybe all of it. It has some glossed words, and it's from Virgil. Okay, now on page 172, you don't have to turn to this page if you're comfortable using the video and you're able to do full screen, but make sure you have your notebook out. I would have a running vocabulary refresher sheet of my own making if I were you, since obviously we're going to be seeing some new vocabulary words from this chapter. So that'd be a way of getting used to those, since likely we'll have a vocabulary and translation hybrid quiz at the end of next week. Okay, so we're going to do 1 through 3 right now, and you're going to do 4 through 6 in the form today. So it says right here it's due by tomorrow night. I guess that's true because we're doing that Tuesday and Thursday night at 8 p.m. due date thing. I would just really try to get them done now. I know this video won't be quite 50 minutes, so whatever time remains between the end of this video and a 50-minute normal class time, you should use that time to just do the translations now, since I know it's sometimes tricky getting back into the forms the next day. All right, so Leos autem nimis saipe est neque certa neque magna. I'm not going to spend too much time on this one because it's pretty straightforward. The only thing I can really hint at is what you see at the bottom of the screen, and that is that neque is the same as neck. When it's showing up twice, it's just this conjunction that will be translated as like neither something nor something else. And that's about it. So you're gonna want to pause it right now because I know you, even though this one's a little easier, you haven't have the time to translate it with me talking over you translating. So pause right now. Um, and please actually be doing that. You could even, if you want, I'll show this real quick again. You could pause right now and work through all of number 1, 2, and 3 on your own, and then play through the video, and that way you wouldn't have to worry about pausing for individual translations. You're just going to get way less out of it if you're not actually working through these translations yourself. And it would just be way more boring to watch this video if you didn't actually like try to translate these yourself. Because then you actually know what I'm talking about when I go over it. Otherwise, it's just um, yeah, I'm just like you're saying it for the first time as I'm giving you the translation, basically. All right, so I'm gonna move on now. So praise, however, autem is like however, is often neither. So let's see. I'm kind of taking the neck. We have nimbus and sype, which are both adverbs. So nimbus is going to apply to. I mean, it's going to come about a little later. So I'm going to get the often in there. And then I see est, which is just is, right? Is often. Uh, to certain. So this nimbus adverb is likely translating some adjectives or object complements towards the end of the sentence, whereas sype is directly modifying the est. So I guess that's the most complicated thing about this one, but other than that, it's not too bad. So is often neither too certain nor too great. So yep, carta and magna are just object complements of praise. And so I don't need to color code anything in here according to prior color coding rules we've had because our verb is est, so we don't have direct objects. We just have object complements. We have a bunch of adverbs and a bunch of conjunctions, basically. So you might have initially thought this was a little more complicated than it actually is, but it's really just, it comes down to a vocabulary thing, and it's just kind of like sorting out where your adverbs are ending up. All right, next one. Sines ingenta nostra ob filiis numquam neglegebontur. All right, as usual, I'm going to give a couple of hints, I guess, that you can either choose to use uh, when you translate it during this video after having paused it, or you can just pause it now. But I will say the one truly tricky or new thing about this is neglegebontur. We need to make sure we are able to break that down. That ending is imperfect, third person plural, and passive. So I'll make that ending a color we never use because, yeah, hopefully that whole ending is identifiable to you as passive, third person plural, and imperfect. So negligera, is a third conjugation verb, but the imperfect endings for third and fourth conjugation verbs is no different at all than the endings for first and second imperfect. It's future and present we need to be careful about, not so much imperfect. Hopefully this BA made you realize that this was imperfect, and the TUR is third plural. And then my next slide, I will just color code some other things, and then from there you should work through it on your own. And since it looks like I have two ablative phrases in a row, so I'm using two different shades of green. All right, give it a shot, guys. Good luck. And now, moving on ahead, we have old men in our clan were never neglected by their sons. So, the word never neglected, that's how we're going to take the numquam neglegebontur. Since it's third, plural, passive, imperfect, the way to translate it is were verbed. Were being verbed is okay, but we don't need the being. And never comes into play, obviously, because it's an adverb directly modifying our verb here. And then it's the subject is old men. This is from Sinis, and it can be an adjective, but here it's just going to be our plural third declension nominative. These are the old men in our clan. I guess we could do a couple other things for Gaines Gintis in our nation. We wouldn't say in our people. In English, we'd say like of our people, maybe. But so that's just an ablative. Obviously, Ginta is third declension ablative, and Nostra. I don't know why the macron disappeared there, but Gaines Gintis is a feminine word, so Nostra has the ablative a, and then ob filiis by their sons. This is the ablative of anyone. Okay, I just added. It's ablative of agent. Doing this screen capture method I'm doing now, it's still kind of unclear to me when I pause and like add little things. Sometimes it seems like they end up like they were always there the whole time. So kind of confusing, but anyway, because remember when we have a perfect passive verb, which we have a pluperfect passive verb. Wait, sorry. No, just any passive verb, rather. This is imperfect, not perfect. But any kind of passive verb can and often will have an ablative of agent or an ablative of means, telling us who or what the thing that is actually doing the action to the subject is. In this case, it's the suns. All right, okay. Good. This is our last one for right now that we'll do together, and then you guys will do a few more. So, quis tum iosus erat Graeciam metu gravi liberare familias defendera atque hostes a finibus prohibera. This one's not too bad, but it might look intimidating at first because it's a little longer. And let's see here. We have there's one thing I definitely want to talk about. So, iosus erat. Let's see here. Okay, so eusis is from this brand new verb. We have eubeo, euberi, eusi, eusum. So the third and fourth principal part look way different than the first two, for one thing. The B goes away, and we get these two S's. So this is coming from a verb that means to bid, to order, to command. But don't get rusty on the stuff we learned in chapter 19, which is our perfect passives. So back here we had an imperfect passive verb. But imperfect is not part of the perfect system. This one is. It's going to be, anyone? It's going to be pluperfect passive. So we're going to translate this as it had been commanded, is the way you would translate a pluperfect passive when it's this verb specifically. So, and then one other little thing, and then you should definitely work on the rest yourself. But it looks like we're going to start off with like who and have a question about, we're going to be asking about the identity of somebody. So quis appears to be an interrogative pronoun, as in not an interrogative adjective that is asking a more open-ended question. All right, guys. And the way I know that is quis is nominative, and I don't see any other nominatives around that it could be asking about. So it's more like we're just asking a big who question, not a specific who question. All right. And my last one, here's my color coding. Um, Colors. So hopefully that means something to you. Red is, usually an accusative direct object. Green is an ablative noun phrase. All right, give it a shot. Okay, I'm going to move ahead. Hopefully you guys got for this first part. So this is right up until that first comma. There's kind of three parts to this. So who has then been commanded by grave fear to liberate Greece? So this is the beginning of a compound question. So who has then? Let's see. Had been rather, because again, this is pluperfect because of that erat. That erat makes it pluperfect. So who had then, tum is then, been verbed, been commanded, that's the actual iosus erat part, by grave fear, so metugrawi is an ablative of means, to, complementary infinitive, to liberate Greece. So iosus or iubeo in general, this verb, often takes a complementary infinitive. In this case, it's taking three complementary infinitives. So that's the three separate parts of this sentence. So I was about this person who has been commanded to liberate Greece by fear. Also, who has been commanded to defend families, and so to prohibit the enemies from the border. So yeah, they do pack a lot of grammatical stuff into this one sentence. Off finibus at the end, there's an ablative of separation to prohibit enemies, a direct object, from an ablative of separation, whereas at metugrawi earlier was the ablative of means. And yeah, as you can see in the three separate parts, well, not totally separate, but dependent clause parts of this question, we have three separate direct objects. So initially it's Greece, liberate Greece, then it's defend families, and then it's prohibit enemies. And they're all complementing the initial verb, which is had been commanded, iosus erat. So yeah, it's a good sentence. It doesn't have any third and fourth conjugation verbs in the passive, but some more of those will show up in these sentences. Hopefully, Discetera, Dookie, Eosit. Maybe not, but There will definitely be some during the story. Anyway, I do have a color coded version of these sentences if you want that. If you don't and you just want to work on these blind without any hints, then you can go do that now. But my last little slide for this video will just be me having color coded everything, and I'll add a little color coding guide because I presume that everyone is familiar with the way I'm color coding things, but I guess some people could have forgotten things, and some of them are pretty new. So here they are. All right, guys, I'll add the little guide to that, and that'll be that. And good luck on your reading as well as these translations. Number 5 is really long, but we're having a lot of just like conjunctions and prepositional phrases and stuff, kind of like pad things out a little bit. But remember, things like "awk" and "otque" are just conjunctions. So yeah, use this chance to go over some of your new and old vocabulary, and good luck.